Hello, welcome to Dino Reads Warriors. Reads books. Just books. Okay. I won't be reading a whole bunch of books. I have to get the books, and then I'll probably go up and read them to you guys, because you guys probably don't have like $100 in Karate Pocket to buy all these books. Like, yeah. Let's just get started. I do sometimes mumble, and I do sometimes get carried away, and I become silent within reading these. I try my best not to do that. Anyways, let's get started. Prologue. Half moon glowed on the smooth granite boulders, turning them silver. The silence was broken only by the ripple of water from the swift black river and the whisper of trees in the forest beyond, stirring the shadows from all around. With dark shapes crept stealthily over the rocks, and sheathed claws glinted in the moonlight. Fairy eyes flashed like amber, and then, as if on a silent signal, the creatures leaped at each other. Suddenly the rocks were alive with rustling and screeching chaos. The center of the frenzy of fur and claws, a massive dark tabby pinned the bracken-colored Tom to the ground and drew his head up triumphantly. "Oakheart," the tabby growled. "Dare you hunt in our territory? The Snake Rocks belongs to ThunderClan. After tonight, Tigerclaw, this will be another River Clan hunting ground." The bracken-colored Tom spat back. A warning yellow came from the shore. An anxious, "Look out, more River Clan warriors are coming." Tigerclaw turned to see sleek, wet bodies sliding out from the water below the rocks. Drenched River Clan warriors bounded silently up the slope and hurried themselves into battle without even stopping to shake their water from the fur. Dark tabby glared down at Oakheart. "You may swim like otters, but you and your warriors do not belong in this forest." He drew back his lips and showed his teeth as the cat struggled beneath him. A desperate scream of the ThunderClan chief cat rose above the clamor. A weary River Clan Tom had pinned the brown warrior flat in her belly. Now he lunged toward her neck with his jaws still gripping him to swim across the river. Tigerclaw heard the cry and let go of Oakheart. With a mighty leap, he knocked the enemy warrior away from the she-cat. "Quick, Mousefur, run!" he ordered, before turning on the River Clan Tom, who had threatened her. Mousefur scrambled to her paws, wincing from a deep gash on her shoulder, and raced away. Behind her, Tigerclaw spat with rage. The River Clan Tom sliced open his nose. The blood blinded him for an instant. He lunged forward, regardless, and sank his teeth in the hind leg of his enemy. Tigerclan's cat squealed and struggled free. Tigerclaw yelled away from the warrior, tail a fox red as foot. "This is useless. There are too many River Clan warriors. No, Redtail. ThunderClan will never be beaten," Tigerclaw yelled back, leaping to Redtail's side. "This is our territory." Blood welling around his broad black muzzle. He shook his head impatiently, scattering scarlet drops onto the rocks. "ThunderClan will honor your courage, Tigerclaw, but we cannot afford to lose any more of our warriors," Redtail urged. "Lucia would never expect her warriors to fight to avenge this death." Tigerclaw's amber-gazed eyes steadily, then reared away and sprang into a boulder at the edge of the trees. "Retreat, ThunderClan, retreat!" he yelled. Once his warriors squirmed and struggled away from the opponents, spitting and snarling. They backed toward Redtail for a heartbeat, and River Clan cats looked confused. "So easily won," Oakheart yelled, jumbling cry. As soon as they heard him, the River Clan warriors raised their voices and joined the deputy, caterwauling their victory. He looked down at his warriors. With a flick of his tail, he gave the signal to the River Clan cats to divide down the far side of the surrounding rocks. Disappeared in the trees. Tigerclaw followed at last. He hesitated at the edge of the forest, on its back blood-stained battlefield. His grim, his eyes furious slits. Then he leaped after his clan into the silent forest. There was a gray old she-cat sat alone, staring up at the clear night sky. All around her in shadows, she could hear the breathing and stirring of sleeping cats. While Turtle Shell, the she-cat, emerged from a dark corner. Her paw steps quick and thumbless. The gray cat dipped her head in greeting. "How's Mouse fur?" she meowed. "Her wounds are deep," Blue Star answered the tortoiseshell, settling herself in the night-cool grass. "But she is young and strong. She will heal quickly. And the others? Yellow Crupper, too." Blue Star sighed. "We're lucky not to have lost any of our warriors this time. Our gifted medicine cat, Spotted Leaf, tilted her head again and studied the stars. I'm deeply troubled by tonight's defeat. The clan has not been beaten in its own territory since I became leader. Difficult times for our clan. Seeing the new leaf is late, and there have been fewer kits. And our clan needs more warriors if it's to survive. But the year is just beginning," the leaf pointed out calmly. "More kits when Greenleaf comes." The great cat twitched her broad shoulders. "Perhaps. But training our young to become warriors takes time. When our clan is to defend its territory, we must have new warriors as soon as possible." "Are you asking Star Clan for answers?" yelled Spotted Leaf gently, following Blue Star's gaze and staring up at the swath of stars glittering in the dark sky. "It is at time like this we need the warrior ancestors to help us. Has Star Clan spoken to you?" Blue Star asked. "Not for some moons," Blue Star couldn't. Shooting, a star blazed over the treetops. Spotted Leaf's tail twitched, and the fur along her spine bristled. Blue Star's ears pricked. She remained silent as Spotted Leaf continued to gaze upward. For a moment, Spotted Leaf lowered her head and turned to Blue Star. "Message from Star Clan," she murmured, a distant look in her eyes. "Fire alone can save our clan." "Fire?" Blue Star echoed. "But the fire is feared by all clans." "All can't save us," Spotted Leaf shook her head. I do not know," he admitted. "This is a message Star Clan chosen to share with me." And the clan leader fixed her clear blue eyes on the medicine cat. "Never been wrong before," Spotted Leaf, she meowed. "Star Clan has spoken. It must be so. Fire will save our clan." Chapter 1. It was very dark. Rusty could sense something was near. The young tomcat's eyes opened wide as he scanned the dense undergrowth. The place was unfamiliar, but the strange sense drew him onward. Deeper into the shadows, his stomach growled, reminding him of his hunger. He opened his jaws slightly, let the warm smells of the forest reach the scent glands on the roof of his mouth. The musty odors of leaf and mold mingled with the tempting aroma of small furry creatures. Suddenly, a flash of gray raced past him. Rusty stopped still, listening. It was hiding in the leaves less than 2 tail lengths away. Rusty knew it was a mouse. He could feel the rapid pulsing of the tiny heartbeat within its ear fur. He swallowed, stifling his rumbling stomach. Soon his hunger would be satisfied. Slowly he lowered his body into position, crouching for the attack. Downwind, the mouse he knew was not aware of him. In final check of his prey's position, Rusty pushed back hard on his haunches and sprang, taking up leaps on the forest floor as he rose. The mouse dived for cover, heading toward a hole in the ground. But Rusty was already on top of it. He scooped in the air, hooking the helpless creature with the thorn-sharp claws, hanging it up in the high arc of the leaf-covering ground. Then, dazzling but alive, it tried to run. Rusty snatched it up again. He tossed the mouse once more, this time a little farther away. The mouse managed to scramble a few paces before Rusty caught it. Faintly, a mouse roared nearby. Rusty looked around, and as he did so, the mouse was able to pull away from his claws, and Rusty turned back. He saw it dart into the darkness among the tangled roots of the tree. Angry, Rusty gave up the hunt. He spun around, his green eyes glared, intent on searching up the noise that had cost him his kill. The sound rattled on, becoming more familiar. Rusty opened his eyes. Rusty disappeared. He was inside a hot, airless kitchen, curled in his bed. It filtered through the windows, casting shadows on the smooth, hard floor. Noise had been the rattle of hard, dried pellets of fruit that were tipped in his dish. Rusty had been dreaming. Lifting his head, he rested his chin on the side of his bed, his collar rubbing comfortably around his neck. His dream he had felt fresh air rubbing the soft fur where the collar usually pinched. Rusty rolled on his back, savoring the dream for a few more minutes. Still smelled the mouse. It was the third time since full moon that he had dreamed. The time the mouse had escaped his grasp. He licked his lips. From his bed, he could smell the bland odor of his food. Owner always refilled the dish before they went to bed. The dusty smell chased away the warm sense of his dream. The hunger rumbled in his stomach. So Rusty stretched into the sleep of his limbs and pattered across the kitchen floor to his dinner. The food felt dry and tasteless on his tongue. Rusty reluctantly swallowed one more mouthful, turned away from the food dish, and pushed his way out through the catwalk, hoping that the smell of the garden would bring back the feeling of his dream. Outside, the moon was bright. It was raining lightly. Rusty stalked down the tidy garden, following the starlit gravel path, feeling stones cold and sharp beneath his paws. Made of dirt beneath a large bush, glossy green leaves and heavy purple flowers. Sticky sweet scent clothed the damp air around him and curled his lip to drive the smell out of his nostrils. Afterward, Rusty settled down on top of one of those posts in the fence that marked the limits of his garden. His favorite spot of his, he could see right into the neighboring gardens as well as into the dense green forest on the other side of the garden fence. The rain had stopped behind him. The closed cropped lawn was bathed in moonlight. Beyond his fence, the woods were full of shadows. He stretched his head forward to make sniff damp air. His skin was warm and dry under his thick coat, but he could feel the weight of the raindrops that sparkled on his ginger fur. He rode his owners, giving him one last call from the back door. He wanted and would get him in gentle words, kindness, and welcome in their beds. And pull a warm crook to prevent me. Sam Rusty ignored his owner's voices and turned his gaze back and forth. Crisp smell of the woods had grown fresher after the rain. Smooth fur on his spine prickled. Was something moving out there? Was something watching him? Rusty moving out. Rusty stared ahead. Impossible to see or smell anything in the dark. Tree-scented air. He lifted his chin boldly, stood up, and stretched one paw gripping each corner of the fence post. He had straightened his legs and arched his back. He closed his eyes and breathed in the smell of the wood once more. It seemed to promise him something, tempting him onward into the whispering shadows. Tensing his muscles, he crouched for a moment and leaped lightly down the rough grass on the other side of the garden fence. He landed and rang out with light right near. "Where are you off to, Rusty?" Yelled a familiar voice behind him. Rusty looked up. A young black and white cat was balancing graceful on the fence. "Hello, Smudge," Rusty replied. You're not going to go into the woods, are you?" Smudge's amber eyes were huge. "Just for a look," Rusty promised, shifting confidently. "You get me in there, it's dangerous." Smudge wrinkled his black nose with distaste. Henry said he went into the woods once. Cat lifted his head and lifted the note over the rows of fences toward the garden where Henry lived. "That old Tabby never went into the woods," Rusty said. Been beyond his own garden since the trip to the vet. All he wants to do is eat and sleep. "Really, you caught a robin there," Smudge insisted. "We did, and it was before the vet. Only complained about birds because they disturb his dozing. Well, anyways," Smudge went on, ignoring the scorn in Rusty's meow. "Henry told me there are all sorts of dangerous animals out there. Wild cats who eat live rabbits for breakfast and sharpen their claws on old bones." "Going for a look around," Rusty meowed. "I won't stay long." "Oh, don't say I didn't warn you," purred Smudge. Black and white cat turned and plunged off the fence back into his own garden. Rusty sat down on the coarse grass beyond the garden fence, gave his shoulder a nervous lick, and wondered how much Smudge gossip was true. Suddenly, the movement of a tiny creature caught his eye. Watched it scuttle under some brambles. Instinctively, he into a low crouch. With a slow paw after another, he drew his body forward. The undergrowth, ears pricked, nostrils flared, eyes unblinking, he moved toward the animal. He could see it clearly now, sitting up among the barbed branches, nibbling on a large seed held between his paws. It was a mouse. Rusty rocked his haunches from side to side, preparing to leap. He held his breath in case his bell rang again. Excitement coursed the room, making his heart pound. This was even better than in his dreams. Suddenly, a noise cracking twigs and fence leaves made him jump. His bell jangled treacherously. The mouse darted away into the thickest tangle of bramble bush. Rusty stood very still and looked around. He could see the red tip of a bushy tail trailing through the clump of tall ferns at the head. Strong, strange scent, definitely a meat eater. But neither dog nor cat. Distracted, Rusty forgot about the mouse and watched the red tail curiously. He wanted a better look. Rusty's senses strained ahead as he prowled forward. Did another noise came from behind. 100 meter and distant. Over here backward to hear it better. Paw steps, he wondered. Six on the strange red fur up ahead. He continued to creep onward. It was only when the faint rustling behind him, loud, fast approach, sleep crackled, that Rusty realized that he was in danger. The creature hit him like an explosion, and Rusty was thrown sideways into a clump of needles. Twisting and yelling, he tried to throw off the attacker and fastened itself to his back. It was gripping him with incredibly sharp claws. Rusty could feel spiked teeth breaking at his neck. Ribble and squirm from whisker to tail, he could not free himself. For a second he felt helpless, then he froze. And fast he flipped over on his back. He knew instinctively how dangerous it was to expose his soft belly. It was his only chance. And the ploy seemed to work. Beneath him, the breath was knocked out of his attacker. As Rusty managed to wriggle free without looking back, he sprinted toward his own. Rusty's paw steps told Rusty his attacker was giving chase. After his tongue beneath his fur, Rusty decided he would rather turn and fight than let himself be jumped on again. Hop spun around and faced his pursuer. It was another kitten. A coat, shaggy gray fur, strong legs, and a broad face. In a heartbeat, Rusty smelled, and it was a tom. Powering the sturdy shoulders underneath the soft coat, the kitten crashed into Rusty at a pelt. Taken by surprise by Rusty turnabout, it fell back into a dead heap. The impact knocked the breath out of Rusty. He staggered. He quickly found his footing and arched his back, puffing out his orange fur, springing on another kitten. But his attacker simply sat up and began to lick his sword paw, and signs of aggression gone. Rusty felt strangely disappointed. Every part of him was tense, ready for battle. "Hey there, kitty pat," yelled the great Tom Shirley. "Fight for a tame kitty." Rusty remained on tiptoe for a second, wondering whether to attack anyway. He remembered the strength he had felt in his kitten paws, pinned him to the ground. As loosening its muscles and let his spine unbend. "If I have to," he growled. "I'm Grey Paw, by the way." The gray kitten went on, ignoring Rusty's threat, trying to be a Thunderhand warrior. Silent, he didn't understand Grey What's-It was meowing about. The threat had passed. He hid his confusion by leaning down to lick his ruffled chest. "What's a kitty pet like you doing out in the woods? Don't you know it's dangerous?" asked Grey Paw. "Dangerous thing out in the woods? No. If you're the most dangerous thing the woods has to offer, I think I can handle it," Rusty bluffed. I looked at him for a moment, narrowing his big yellow eyes. "Oh, I'm far from the most dangerous. If I were even half a warrior, I'd have given an intruder like you some real wounds to think about." A thrill of fear from his ominous words. What do you mean by intruder? Anyways, you had Great Paw, your sharp teeth took a clump of grass in between his claws. "I think it was worth hunting you. I was not from one of those other clans, Rusty echoed, confused. You shouldn't hiss. "You must have heard before the hunt around here. Along with Thunder Clan, the other clans are always trying to steal prey from our territory, especially Shadow Clan." They're so fierce they would have ripped you to shreds, no questions asked. Grandpa paused, spit angrily, and continued. Come to take rightfully ours. The job of Clan warriors to keep them out of our territory. When I finish my training, I'll be so dangerous, I'll have the other clans shaking their flea-bitten skin. They won't dare come near us. Rusty narrowed his eyes. This must be one of the wildcats much warned him about. Living rough in the woods, hunting, fighting each other for every last drop of food. Yet Rusty didn't feel scared. In fact, it was hard not to admire this confident kitten. You're not a warrior, he asked. Why? Do you think I was? Grandpa purred proudly. And hurry ahead. Real warriors for ages. I have to go through training first. Kids have to be 6 months old before they can even begin training. It's my first night out as an apprentice. Why don't you find yourself an owner with a nice cozy house instead? Your life will be so much easier, Rusty meowed. House would take in a kitten like you. All you have to do is sit where they can see you and look hungry for a couple days. Give me pellets that look like rabbit droppings and soft slop. Ring interrupted. No way. I can't think of anything worse than being a kitty pet. They're nothing but two-legged toys, eating stuff that doesn't look like food, making dirt, box gravel, sticking their noses inside only when the two legs allow them. That's no life. Out here, it's wild and it's free. We'll come and go as we please. He finished his speech with a proud spit. Shapelessly. Until you've tasted a fresh old mouse, you haven't lived. Have you ever tasted mouse? No, Rusty admitted a little defensively. Not yet. I guess you'll never understand, Grandpa sighed. You weren't born wild. It makes a big difference. You need to be born with warrior blood in your veins, feeling the wind in your whiskers. A kitty born in a two-legged nest could never feel the same way. That's not true, he meant definitely. My paw didn't reply. He suddenly stiffened mid-lick. One paw is still raised and sniffed the air. For my hand, he asked, you should go. Pleased to find you hunting in our territory. Rusty looked around, wondering how Grandpa knew any cats were approaching. Well, anything different on a leaf-scented breeze. Stood on down the note of urgency in Grandpa's voice. Quick! Hissed Grandpa again. Run! Rusty prepared to spring the bushes, not knowing which way was safe to jump. It was too late. A voice meowed from behind him, menacing. What's going on here? Rusty turned to see a large, gray-she cat strolling majestically out from the undergrowth. She was magnificent, white hair streaking her muzzle. A ugly scar parted the fur across her shoulders. But her smooth gray coat shone like silver in the moonlight. Blue Star, that Rusty. Grandpa crouched down. With his eyes, he crouched even lower with the second cat, a handsome golden tabby. Cat in the clearing, you shouldn't be so near to the blade place. Grandpa growled the golden tabby angrily in his green eye. I know, Lionheart, I'm sorry. I looked down at his paws. Rusty copied Grandpa and crouched low to the forest floor, his ears twitching nervously. Strange he had never seen any of his garden friends. Maybe what Smudge had warned him about was true. Who is this? Asked the she-cat. Rusty flinched as she turned and gazed on him. Blue eyes made him feel even more vulnerable. He's no threat, made Grandpa quickly. Another hand warrior, just a two-legged pet from beyond our territories, just a two-legged pet. Only Rusty held his tongue. A warning look in Blue Star's gaze told him that she had observed the anger in his eyes. She's the leader of my clan, Blue Star. Grandpa hissed to Rusty under his breath. Lionheart, he's my mentor. And he's training me to be a warrior. The introduction, Grandpa nailed Lionheart coolly. Blue Star was still staring at Rusty. Quite well for a two-legged pet, she meowed. Grandpa exchanged confused glances. How could she know? Watching the both, Blue Star went on. He read their thoughts. He wondered how you would deal with an intruder. Grandpa, you attacked him bravely. Grandpa looked pleased at Blue Star's praise. Sit up now, both of you. He looked at Rusty. You too, kitty pet. Immediately, Blue Star's gaze pillowed evenly as she addressed him. Leave well to the attack, kitty pet. Great Paw is stronger than you, but you used your wits and defended yourself. I faced him when he chased you. Not seen a kitty pet do that before. He managed to nod his thanks, taken aback by such unexpected praise. Surprised me even more. Been wondering if you would prefer out here, beyond the two-legged place. Your patrol is border frequently, so I've often seen you sitting on your boundary, staring out in the forest, and now at last you have dared to take your paws here. Blue Star stared at Rusty thoughtfully. You do seem to have a natural hunting ability, sharp eye. But Mouse had not hesitated so long. Really? Rusty Stanford Lionheart spoke now, his deep down, insistent. Blue Star, this is a kitty pet. Should not be hunting in Thunderclan territory. Send him home in his two-leg. Think that Lionheart's dismissive words. Send me home. His words had made him glow with pride. She'd been impressed by him. I only come here to hunt for a mouse or two. I'm sure there's enough to go around. Blue Star turned her head to acknowledge Lionheart's word. She snapped back to Rusty. Eyes were blazing with anger. There's never enough to go around, she sat. With soft, overfed life, you would know that. Rusty was confused by Blue Star's sudden rage. One glance, the horrified look on Great Paw's face was enough to tell him he had spoken too freely. Lionheart stepped to his leader's side. Both warriors leaned over him now. Rusty looked in her Blue Star's threatening gaze. His pride dissolved. Not a cozy fireside cats he's dealing with. They were mean, hungry cats who were probably going to finish what Great Paw had started.